Have you ever heard the story of the Serbian Dancing Lady? They say if you see her, it's already too late. A sinister figure, clad in tattered black, dancing alone under the pale moonlight on deserted streets. But beware. What seems like a harmless performance is a harbinger of something unspeakable. Let me take you to Belgrade, where it all began. Luka was a skeptic. Stories of ghosts and urban legends made him scoff. He prided himself on being rational. But one night, after a party that went on too long, he found himself walking home alone through Kalemegdan Park. The silence was deafening. The occasional rustle of leaves was the only sound breaking the stillness. As he turned onto an empty street, he froze. There, under the dim glow of a flickering street lamp, was a woman. She wore a long, flowing black dress, her hair covering most of her face. She danced. Her movements were strange, hypnotic, like a blend of traditional Serbian steps and something much more chaotic. Her body twisted and bent unnaturally, almost as if her bones were breaking with every move. "Excuse me," Luka called out, trying to mask his unease. The woman stopped. She didn't look up, but stood eerily still, her head slightly tilted, as though she were listening. "Do you need help?" he asked again. She raised her arms slowly and began clapping. Rhythmic, deliberate claps that echoed louder than they should have in the empty street. Her dance resumed, but this time it was faster, more erratic. Luka's chest tightened as a chill crawled up his spine. That's when he noticed her shadow. It didn't follow her movements. It danced in the opposite direction, growing larger and more menacing with each step she took. Luka's instincts screamed at him to leave, but his legs felt rooted to the ground. The woman stopped abruptly, her head snapping toward him. Her face, it was blank. No eyes, no mouth, no features, just smooth, pale skin. Luka bolted, his heart pounding as he sprinted through the empty streets. He didn't stop until he reached his apartment, slamming the door shut behind him. His breaths came in ragged gasps as he tried to convince himself it was just his imagination. But then he heard it. Tap, tap, tap. The sound of high heels clicking against the pavement. He peeked through the peephole, his blood running cold. There she was, standing at the bottom of the stairwell, swaying gently as though she were dancing to music only she could hear. Over the next few days, Luka's life unraveled. He would see her everywhere, on street corners, in reflections, even in his dreams. She never spoke, never chased him, but her presence was suffocating. One night, he woke to the sound of clapping. Slow, deliberate claps echoed through his room. His bedroom door creaked open, and there she was, standing at the foot of his bed. Her head tilted again, and this time, she whispered, "Dance with me." Luka screamed, but no sound came out. His body moved against his will, mimicking her twisted, unnatural movements. Pain shot through his limbs as he contorted in ways he didn't think possible. When he woke, he was lying in the middle of the street, his body bruised and battered. Desperate for answers, Luka sought out a local historian who specialized in folklore. The man's face grew pale as Luka described the woman. "You've been marked," the historian said gravely. "The Serbian Dancing Lady is no myth. She's a curse, an ancient spirit said to punish those who mock the supernatural. Her dance is a ritual, and once you join, you can never escape." Luka's hands trembled. "How do I stop her?" The historian shook his head. "You can't. She doesn't stop until you disappear." That night, Luka stayed up, determined to face her. Midnight came, and so did she, standing in his living room. Her dance was more frantic than ever, her movements a blur of chaos. This time, Luka didn't run. He grabbed a mirror and held it up to her. The woman let out an ear-piercing scream as her reflection revealed her true form. A grotesque, skeletal figure with hollow eyes and a gaping mouth. The room went dark. When the lights returned, Luka was gone. The camera pans to the same deserted street where it all began. A new figure walks alone, a young woman this time. She stops as she sees a figure under the street lamp. The Serbian Dancing Lady sways once more, waiting for her next victim. If you ever see her, don't stop. Don't speak. And whatever you do, don't dance. Fade to black. The sound of clapping grows louder before the screen goes silent.